What is good, YouTube? And today we have another 7 nights video, and instead of like a guide or something that I've done a lot in the past for refarming, I just wanted to show you guys my setup and the characters that I actually use. Now, a lot of people have been asking where I'm farming, how I'm setting up my team and stuff like that. So I'm just going to show you guys basically the characters that I use and the stats, and although the stats aren't going to be easily attainable for you newer players out there, there's going to be some key things that you are actually going to want to aim for. So currently I actually farm at 17-1 Nightmare, and even though you're probably thinking, oh my god, this must be super hard, the thing is, the first stage in every chapter is pretty easy, and what I found with my team is that my chapter 17-1 farming team, I guess like when I farm in 17-1, it's quicker than anything from 11-1 to 16-1. And it's going to be because you're going to see that the monsters will have certain things that just make it quicker. But before I dive into that, I'll just show you guys the team that I use. So of course you want to make sure you have your priority set so your skills go first on your carries. And in the first team I use Yunhee. So a lot of people actually like to use Velika or Clawhan. And I think Velika especially is an option that is good, but you have to realize that she doesn't really scale too well into the harder stages. And the reason why is because she doesn't have a magic damage boost for herself, she only has a crit rate boost, which is okay, but for the most part her damage isn't enough to actually guarantee that you'll kill the waves in time with 2 skills. She also dies very quickly because even though she gets a barrier, it's not nearly as good as a damage nullification ability. So because of this, you're going to see that, she's very squishy in the harder stages. Some of the monsters can hit you for like 3 to 4k, and with just a barrier, it's not really enough. And of course, you also kind of have to rely on this magic vulnerability landing, especially on your skill 2. So if you miss this debuff, it can really screw up your runs, which is why even though she's good at like Nightmare 1-1 and 6-1, you're not going to really want to heavily invest into her. Now, in terms of the other farmers, there's like 3 really good ones. Clawhan, which I don't actually have built. Well, I do have built, but I don't have dupes into him. He actually has the highest damage potential, and he can 2-shot waves, which makes him super strong. And then you have Tio, who's not going to really end up 2-shotting any waves, so he's more of a safe farmer, which is what I'm using. And you can see that I have him on this like Avenger setup because he is T6. If you had him at T2 or like I guess like anything below T6, you would run him on Assassin to get 70% crit rate, but because I'm not, I have him on Avenger and I have him on really bad gear and he's still able to do the job. And for my Yunhee, you can see that she is T6 as well, and I do have her on Assassin, but I can switch her over to Avenger as well. And you can see the gear on her is pretty good, so yeah. So typically with my setup, my Tio is going to be my like sac team, my sacrifice team. I just put him on like whatever gear. I have him on my farming pet, and my Yunhee is like the stat intensive team. So that's like the good thing about Tio is because you can kind of give him like worse gear and put him with your farming pet, your accessory pet, and he can still kill the waves in like 3 skills. Whereas Clawhan and Yunhee need a lot of damage to actually kill in time because they don't have a revive. So that is basically the setup I'm using. It's nothing too crazy. Now in terms of like what stages are faster, you really want to actually look at the stages that you're farming. So obviously like going up stages is actually really good, but some mobs will actually have like invulnerabilities, which makes it hard to farm. And you're also going to see, for example, in 17-1, this mob, Caddy, she has a physical attack buff at the start and she crit rate boosts. So she kills your Tio really fast, and it's really good because it allows you to revive faster, which actually makes this faster than any other thing that I'm farming after like, I think it's like 10-1, where I need to have my Tio die. But you also want to make sure when you're farming that you actually look at the invulnerabilities. I know I'm like clicking around, but you can see the first wave has physical damage immunity, the second one has magic, so I have to put Tio in the second one, and then Yunhee in the first one. So if you end up farming here, you actually cannot use Clawhan and Tio. So that's like another thing, like running 2 physical farmers, you're going to find is going to be not actually viable in some stages because the harder Nightmare stages have like a lot of, immunities that you have to watch out for. But yeah, as I was saying, like the pets are super important when you're farming. And like I said earlier, my Tio is on this Mole pet, which gives extra accessory drop rate. This is going to be the best pet by far for farming pets because accessories are like the main reason why you're farming Nightmare. Even though you're getting extra gold, extra fodder, accessories are very important because it really is important for PvP. And if you don't have Mole, there's a lot of other options you can use. So if I actually just look at some other pets I have in my inventory, I don't have too many because I didn't really focus on pets too much. Oh, I just giga lag there, holy. You can use something like Mick, which gives you extra gold, which is actually very nice. And even something like an Airy, which will give you extra fodder, which is also very nice. The thing is, you know, you can run 2 if you want. But for me personally, on this stage, I find it very hard for Yunny to kill without a magic damage pet, so I have her on Yunji. But eventually, once I get better gear on her, I will switch her to another farming pet. So you can run 2 farming pets, you just can't run 2 of the same effect, if that makes sense. So I can't run 2 moles, right? But you can run something like Mole and Airy here, which I'll probably end up doing later on once I, like I said, get better gear. But if you do have to run 2 DPS pets, it's not the worst thing in the world, right? I can run like Sherry here, who does have some physical attack boost, and I do have potential unlocked. Everyone asks me about a pet guide, which I'll do in the future. It's just that, for me personally, I also don't have a lot of pets, as you can see. So that's how it is. But you could also use 2 damage pets, but keep in mind, you will want to try to have your TO on a farming pet. And even if he has to die, just having that farming pet is really good because you get extra loot. So that is pretty much the setup that I go for. I'll just show you guys like a run or 2. And you're going to see, like if you're running the Yunny TO team, or even like a Clawhan TO team, or even Velika TO, you want to make sure that your whatever farmer you're using actually kills in 2 hits. With Yunny, she doesn't really have to because she does have a 2 target basic attack. But you're going to see that my Yunny skill 1 just killed like almost everything, and then she just skill 2'd after a basic attack and killed everything after. So this is why Yunny's like one of the best farmers. Actually, she is the best farmer at T6 because the damage she does is absolutely crazy. And then this is like my TO side, so basically he uses skills twice. You're going to see that I'm taking a ton of damage here, and the Caddy does so much damage, and he dies actually pretty quick on the stage, and then right away I'm able to revive and use my skill 1. Then you're going to see that this ended up being about a 40-second run in Nightmare 17-1. So this is basically the setup that you want to go for. The TO team, especially once you start farming harder stages, you're going to find it's not as slow. Honestly, you might find that if you're dying with TO anyways, you might want to climb to higher stages because the reason why this TO team can be slow is because he dies too slowly. And if you're fighting stages that actually can't one-shot fodder, which probably is very rare, you're going to find that it's going to take a lot of time as well. So yeah, just wanted to share my Ruby farming team setup for you guys. And I know it probably wasn't as helpful, but a lot of people were asking me where I'm farming. And yes, I am farming the hardest stage possible because it just gives you extra gold. And it does give you better drop rates on like higher level fodder and also accessories. Yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.